All right, I believe we're live. Hello and welcome, YouTubers, to this is Scooter Chat Live number 21, I think. I can't believe we've done this many shows. So welcome. Today we are talking about the UScooter Booster V, also the upcoming S Plus Sport, which will be the same as the Booster V. We have a video review that will be immediately following this this live show. So starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will have a live the review of the scooter. So everything you wanted to know about e-two and UScooters and all that stuff. Not a lot of people have reviewed the UScooter series of scooters here in the United States, but in Europe and stuff, they're wildly popular. Also, I want to welcome Scott, who's the GM of UScooters here in the United States, which is it's the only seller of the e-two. I think there's actually a couple sellers, but is the main one for this particular scooter here. So we've got the link in the video description. We got ourselves a really, really good coupon code of $100 off, and definitely stay tuned for that premiere of the full review. And everybody welcome Scott, who is graciously joining us. If you have any questions about the UScooter during the show, I can try to help, but also Scott will hopefully, I think he's going to be in the live chat momentarily, so definitely ask him all of your questions. And basically, during the show today, we're going to talk about why we're calling the UScooter Booster V S Plus Sport the tiny tank of electric scooters. So you're going to want to stay tuned and kind of figure all that stuff out. We've got all the performance data, ride quality, performance, durability. We have the full deal, everything you wanted to know and more. The mission of the Electric Scooter Guide, which is us, is to help you find the perfect scooter for you. And we do this show every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, our community, please subscribe to us on YouTube. That will get you all the latest videos. We do review videos, but we also have some really special videos coming out this year. We're producing a live show every week, a review every week. And then also we've got some fun videos. One Scooter Hunter video that's, I think, coming out next week with my uncle in it. So that's going to be really fun. So definitely subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram. And then finally, if you have a question during the show, definitely hit up the, just the live chat, right? But if you're watching this after the live show is over, then don't email us because I'm just gonna send you right to the Facebook group because I cannot answer everybody's questions. Go to the Facebook group, ask to join, and then ask your question there. And very often, our team is answering questions, including myself. But also, you're gonna get like 20, 30, 40, 50 different people commenting on your question, like where should I buy this, or how fast should I go, or any of those kinds of things. The Facebook group is the best place. All of those links, the YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook are all at the bottom of the video description, so check that out. All right, so without further ado, we have good. And Vorel's in here. Hello, go everywhere. I remember you from last week. Cedric Skies, hello. iDrama King, yeah, you're new. I haven't seen you before, so good. And little Evan, that's awesome. Cool. We've got some breaking news. All the news is coming up. So first of all, Unagi was over at CES this week, and they revealed their new scooter. We're calling it the new Nagi. They're actually just calling it the E500. So that replaces the 400, which is the scooter that we have reviewed before, and that we've actually reviewed 3 of their scooters. The newest one is the E500. It upgrades their motors to dual 250s. And the reviews that we have are actually already for that scooter because we got it early. So our written review and our video review, I believe at least one of those is linked in the video description. Those are Those are for their new scooter that they just announced, although it was already shipping the last month or so. And the other kind of cool thing about the scooter is that it has a custom paint job option that you can get on the scooter. So you can, you can set what color you want, and you can actually have a different color for the deck versus the handlebars versus the stem, stuff like that. And you can even do custom, your own custom like pattern and whatnot. So the time of custom scooters is now upon us, and we'll see how that does. I'm gonna mention it the first time I see a new Nagi running around the streets here. All right. Oh, hey Sean. Okay. So next up, we've got Vorel Motors. So Vorel Motors, who makes, everybody knows about their e-move cruiser. They also make an e-move touring. So they've been in the, I don't know, not the news, but like I'm a UFC fan, and so like I follow them. So when I heard that Johanna Jędrzejczyk, which is how I think she was the former, I think, strawweight champion, longtime champion. Yeah, here we go. Just watch this video. She's got the e-move. This is actually the e-move touring that she has here, which I think in 3 weeks we'll have our review out for this scooter. she should be wearing a helmet. Anyway, so and then John Jones actually posted. John Jones, the current 205 or light heavyweight champion, one of the best pound for pound fighters in the history of the game. He posted about how much he loves his e-move cruiser. So anyway, I think it's just kind of cool that you got mainstream, sports talking about some of this personal electric scooter market, which I think is awesome, and good job to Vorel Motors. Finally, Vorel has their scooters for sale and service at another new location. This time it's in Nevada, I think close to Las Vegas, which is appropriate since, the UFC is based in Las Vegas. And you can go there for service and support. The link to get to Vorel's service centers and for purchase, if you don't want to order online and you want to test it out, the link is in the video description as well. All right. And then finally, we got something kind of fun for y'all today. So we did the wide wheel electric scooter, the Mercane wide wheel electric scooter last week. We did the review, and we had the live show and everything like that. You can check those out. We have a written review on it. Super fun scooter. But afterwards, we were like, it's kind of fun to just try to balance on the wheel, on the wheels on it without falling off. So yeah, and so anyway, we made a video, and we ended up challenging Julian of Fluid Free Rides to what we called the wide wheel challenge. So if you want to check this out, I think we've got a video to share with you in just a second here. This is Chuck with the Electric Scooter Guide, and this is the wide wheel challenge. So the objective is to stay on the scooter as long as possible without actually riding the scooter. So you gotta, show that the scooter is not balancing by itself, because on carpet it will balance by itself, right? And then you go for it and see how long you can stay up. So basically, oh, you can see me. So basically you can see here, yeah, I'm going for it. Almost fell a couple times. If you're interested in that wide wheel scooter, I promise we're gonna get to the UScooter, but if you're interested in the wide wheel, we've got the video review. You should definitely go on the YouTube channel and check that out. At some point here, it gets too easy, and I start to take my hands off the handlebars. Yeah, iDrama King, yeah. The Y-Wheel Challenge. Oh. think I'm about to fall. Yeah, there it goes.
All right. I got 1
so I
minute
got
and 19 seconds, and I would like to challenge Julian of Fluid Freeride, Christopher of Apollo Scooters in Canada, and the entire Mercane Wide Wheel owner.
So I got 1 minute and 19 seconds, and so I challenged Julian and Christopher of Apollo Scooters out in Canada. Christopher, I think, is in China right now, so I don't think he can send anything back. Great Firewall, China, and all that. But Julian is here, and he answered our challenge. So here's his video.
So Chuck from Electric Scooter Guy challenged us to the wide wheel balancing challenge, and it takes us 1 day, and we're here to show that we can do it better. So let's try it out.
Yeah. All right. So Julian, I guess, beat me by a couple seconds. Anyway, this wide wheel challenge is open to whoever has a wide wheel. If you want to be on the show, make a video, put it on YouTube, send us the link, and we'll probably put you on whenever you send it, as long as it's not too long. If it is, just speed the darn thing up, or I guess maybe we can do it in editing. All right. We talked enough here. Let's get to the show. This is the e-twow UScooter Booster V, also known as the S Plus Sport. The difference being the S Plus Sport, I think, is upcoming, and it's the same thing as the Booster V. It just has a slightly less battery, so we'll cover that. But otherwise, the two scooters are totally identical. So we have a coupon code for that for both of them, and the Booster V you can get right now. Also, if you've got any questions about the scooter, throw them in the live chat, and our producer will get them to me. We'll at least do our best. So basics are the Booster V is like around $1,200. It's super portable scooter. It weighs 24 pounds, which is kind of ridiculous. Stated top speed is 25 miles per hour, has a 275-pound carrying weight. It has a 1-year parts and 6-month or 1,500-mile battery warranty through UScooters. And the stated range is 24 miles. The cost on the S Plus Sport will be $899. Of course, drop $100 if you use our discount. On the V, like I said, I think it's like $1,100, but the link is in the description, and you can get $100 off that. And the V just goes a little further, but it will probably be discontinued well, it'll be basically changed into the S Plus Sport. So the first thing to kind of tell you about is that, in the US, a lot of people don't know about the scooter, but if you go to France or places like that, the scooters everywhere. They sell thousands of units all like every month or so on that scooter. And so it's interesting. It's an interesting scooter. We mostly review scooters that are like 40 plus pounds here. This is one of the few, this one and the Unagi are one of the few that we've reviewed that are actually, very light. So we would consider this ultra portable at 24 pounds. And so when you go down in the weight, you really gotta make trade-offs on range, on battery size, which is range, on motor power, on features like suspension and things like that. And so this scooter is a really good mix of all those things. It's really well balanced, and we call it the tiny tank because not only is it tiny, but it's also really durable. So the truth is actually in 2016, before I was in this industry at all, my first scooter was the UScooter Booster. It was a few generations before this one. And I basically couldn't stop talking about it. I made a subreddit called Electric Scooters, forgot about it for 2 years. That's now what is the electric scooter subreddit that has 11,000 subscribers and is probably the largest electric scooter platform, for chatting, like online at this point. And so anyway, I was in love with the scooter, and it freed up my life basically in San Francisco, where you can't drive a car because you're just gonna, it's horrible to try to drive a car and park. This was a scooter that I got around in, and I got up hills and everything else. So we're going to talk about hill climbing. We're going to talk about top speed. We're going to talk about everything about this scooter, because it is an upgrade of the one that I had. But in terms of the portability, it's kind of like untouchable. Like, I think the Glion Dolly is really the only scooter that competes with this scooter in terms of portability. That's a legit scooter, not like a toy. Like, this is not a toy. This is a scooter that folks in France and here, but mostly when we do our research before these reviews, we go on to like all the Facebook groups and we ask questions in them, and we get responses from a lot of people. Most of the big groups are actually in French, because for whatever reason, France just like, they just love this scooter. People have 10,000 kilometers. Like, regularly you see people claiming they have 10,000 kilometers. I had, I think, 1,500 miles on mine, and I've given it to a friend, and he actually still rides that scooter right now. So they're absolutely super durable, and we'll talk about why that is. But in terms of portability, you're looking at a scooter that's 24 pounds. It has a carrying handle, so you can like literally, okay, one finger is a little too heavy. I tried that and I hurt my finger, but 2 fingers, I can definitely pick this thing up with 2 fingers, no problem. And it has a handle that's right in the middle, it's kind of in the balance point, right? So when you fold it down, boom, you just pick it up and take it upstairs or whatever. The folded dimensions are 37 inches long by 5 inches wide by 12 inches tall, which is where you see it right now. So you can fit this thing underneath the seat of a restaurant. You can, you easily put it in the back of any trunk. But I've actually, sometimes when I go home and I didn't want to ride the scooter, it was raining or whatever, I was with my fiance, whatever, coming home from the movie, I could actually put it in front of my feet inside of the Uber, in the back seat. Like, it's that small. And one of the biggest reasons for that is these handlebars, they fold in. So most handlebars stick out about 17 inches, 18 inches on a lot of scooters. A lot of them do fold, but this one folds, plus it's smaller, right? It also, of course, it locks down while folded, so you can pick it up. And yeah, I would say the Glion Dolly is the most portable other scooter, but the performance of the Glion Dolly is not even close to this scooter at all. So the Glion Dolly, not close to this one. The Unagi Model 1 is about 26 pounds. The handlebars don't fold, but it has a dual motor. So you do get a little more acceleration, but it doesn't fold as small, that Unagi that we just talked about. Now for durability, like I was saying, the many people, including myself, have had thousands of miles on this scooter, and when something does break on it, so after, of course, thousands of miles, like, things are going to go out. There's no scooter that's going to last forever. But this particular model, everything that kind of goes out on it, that typically goes out, is easy to fix. It's like you can get replacement parts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then also, like, there's something real interesting about the handlebars, to where when, a lot of scooters, you actually have to pull the handlebars up. Same with this one. But then if you don't, as you're riding, a lot of handlebars, and if you have certain scooters, you know what I'm talking about, the handlebars come slightly askew of the scooter itself. This one has like a notch in the stem, like a track, as well as a little pin, and so it really holds the stem really well together. So they've done a really good job in terms of the durability and build quality and things like that. Okay, so now on to performance. So for performance, the biggest thing about this scooter, as opposed to many others, is that it's actually quite fast. Now, typically, right, like I think that most of the value in electric scooters, and this is my personal opinion, but is right up to about 28 miles per hour. Like that's where I get the most value. I don't typically go over 25 all that often because it's just like when I'm commuting, it's just like there might be a stop sign coming up or I'm in traffic or things like that. And so usually the riding speed is like 15 to 25 miles an hour. This scooter has a claims top speed of 25 miles an hour. Of course, we do performance tests for everything, but one of those is acceleration, is top speed. And we measure it not through the speedometer on the scooters themselves because those are notoriously incorrect. We measure them with Race Logic, like professional car racing gear, and we basically mount that unit to the scooter, and then we look at the data afterwards. Excuse me. And so our clocked top speed on this scooter was 23.9 miles an hour. However, typically within 400 to 600 feet, our top speed is really more like 22 to 23. But if you're like going, like slightly downhill or you're downwind or something like that, I think you can get it to around 24. But typical top speeds within like a one block kind of distance are going to be right around 22, 23, which again, it doesn't sound a lot faster than like the Unagi's Unlock 19 or the Glion Dolly's like 16 miles an hour, right? But actually the difference between 16 or even 18 miles an hour, like the 9-bot max, and going 22 or 23 is actually a significant difference. Like you really do feel that difference in how fast you're going. And I personally, really like it. I mean, that's it's a lot of fun, I think, for myself, for sure. Okay. So now let's talk about the range. So I think, small scooters have a very hard time getting long range. The reason for that is that, the range is made up of a few things, but one of the most important is how big the battery is. And batteries weigh a lot. And so you can't really have an ultra portable scooter with an ultra long range, right? So for instance, the Unagi has a range of 8.5 miles, and that's at the 16 miles an hour, speed mode, right? When we range test these scooters, we're going to top speed. So I'm riding this at the maxed out speed, which is, up to 23, 24 miles an hour. And the Booster V, remember, is the larger scooter, larger battery than the S Plus Sport that is upcoming. So the S Plus Sport is going to get you 10.4 miles of range, and the Booster V is going to get you 12.6. Or when I say you, I mean me, and me as in a 165-pound rider. Our test track is actually very bumpy roads and really topographic roads, a lot of undulations, a lot of starts and stops. A good, I would say, third of it, maybe half of it, not half, maybe a little over a quarter of it is actually about a 4% uphill grade. So it's not a huge hill, but it's definitely a hill. It's the kind of test that, the scooter manufacturers don't do because they say, you're going to get 25 miles of range or whatever they say. You never really get that because they're testing the scooters at like 9 miles an hour, which we're not. Who's going 9 miles an hour? If you did go 9 miles an hour, you would get that range. But I think it's important to test the scooters at a realistic commuting speed, which is what I do when I do these tests. So yeah, so the Booster V, 12.6 miles. The Booster S Plus Sport, 10.4 miles. Now for acceleration, a little bit different story. So it has a 500 watt nominal, 800 watt kind of max motor. And so really the acceleration is not anything to write home about, although once you get it to about 10 miles, it's a little slow up to about 10 miles an hour. But then once you get past 10, 12, then you kind of start feeling it, keep kind of picking up and you can kind of feel the acceleration a lot more. And it does accelerate well right to the kind of top speed of that 22 to 24 miles an hour. So we test the scooter at every 5-mile-an-hour increment. To 15 miles an hour, it took 6.5 seconds, and to 20 miles an hour, it took 11.9 seconds. That is a little bit, so it's slower than the Unagi or the Turbo Wheel Swift. Remember, the Turbo Wheel Swift, if you don't know about that scooter, it's around the same price at about $800, but it is a lot heavier, right? So the controllers and the battery and all that stuff, you can have a lot more of a scooter when you go up in weight. But for folks that want ultra portable, you're really looking at the Glion Dolly and the Unagi. You can go a little higher and look at like the Xiaomi M365, but it's really not that portable because the handlebars stick out so far and it doesn't have a carrying handle and things like that. So compared to those scooters, the Unagi to get to 15 miles an hour took 4.4 seconds with its dual motor configuration. The Turbo Wheel Swift took 4.7 seconds to 15 miles an hour. And the Glion Dolly actually took 9.4 seconds to get to 15 miles an hour, which is the slowest of them all. And remember, this one got to 15 in just 6.5 seconds. Okay, for hill climbing. We do a 200-foot, 10% average grade hill climb test as part of our suite of tests that we give every scooter that we review. And again, this one is not a great hill climber. You do have to kind of help to kick it along if you do want to go up hills fast. So to get up that hill 200 feet, it took 23 seconds. The Unagi took 12.5 seconds. The Turbo Wheel Swift took 15.9 seconds. And the Glion Dolly took 17.9 seconds. So it's not a great hill climber. It's more like, it's got a better top speed than like the Glion or the Unagi. And I think the power is reserved for when you're already going a little bit faster on more flats. It will go up a 10% grade. It's a 10% grade is also a pretty steep hill. Most cities don't have a ton of those types of hills. So anyway, if you have a ton of hills, you may want to start looking at the dual motor type scooters, but on flats, this is really good actually. Braking. So we also do a 15 mile per hour to 0 mile per hour braking test, and we measure that in feet. Okay, and so this scooter has two different kinds of brakes. One is the electronic brake, which is located on the it's the left thumb, right? So your left thumb is going to be on. There's a paddle on the when you look at the handlebars. There you go. So you can see on the left side you've got the brake lever, and so that is actually really ergonomic. It works really well. But it's only trying to brake one motor, right? It's not two motors, so it's just one motor. And so when you only are braking with one motor, you're going to get a stopping distance of over 40 feet, which is not great, although most of your stopping power is at the beginning of, so in other words, like you stop quicker when you're going faster, and that's the way electronic brakes work. But if you're only going to use electronic brakes, you do need to just leave a little more room. You got to be a little safer when you're riding. The scooter also has a rear fender brake, which you use with your foot. And yeah, you can see a video of how to use that here. If you want to stop really quick, and the way that we test the scooters is by using both methods, right? So when you use both, we got a stopping distance of, I believe it is, I think it's 18 feet actually. I think my stat might be wrong in here. Give me 1 second. I'm just checking myself, except anyway. Yeah, it's the stopping distance is written in the performance page. I'm having a little internet issue where my at least this is working. So compared to the Unagi, which is 16.9 feet, I believe the braking with both is around 18 feet. The Unagi got 16.9 feet, so really similar, although the Unagi has a dual electronic brake, right? This is single and the foot brake together. You get 16.9 with the Unagi. Turbo Wheel Swift actually has dual drum brakes, and then the Glion Dolly has actually no friction brake. There's no foot brake at all. It's only a single. It's only a single electric brake, which is not great. It's not very safe, to be honest. And that got a stopping distance of 40.5 feet. So if you were to use only the electric brakes, you're going to get a stopping distance of around 40 as well. But when you use both, that increases a lot. It decreases your stopping distance to about 18 feet. However, a lot of people don't really ride with 1 foot above their fender. So typically when I ride this scooter, 99% of the time I never need to use this because, I'm not like tailgating somebody in front of me, right? That's dangerous. Nobody should do that. All right. And, if you, yeah, I'm going to take a quick 30-second water break. All right. Sorry about that. Just got a new computer, and of course, internets don't always work. Okay. So Sean, I missed all your guys' questions. I'm so sorry about that. So Sean is asking, I'm 6'2", 230 pounds. Could I even ride this? Yes, you can. So the total capacity of the scooter is actually 275 pounds. It does have dual suspension. So while the tires are solid, you do have suspension, and the suspension is actually pretty good. You can kind of see, we played some videos. Yeah, there we go. Where, basically I'm 165, but when I jump high and come down on it, the suspension works really well. And so actually it will work for you, and it's rated for you, Sean. So I would say it's a go. Okay, Plus Rep Chuck. That's an interesting name. Plus Rep Chuck says, that reminds me, since the sub has 11,000 members, maybe you could consider more mods in there. Yes, we do need to get more mods in the electric scooter subreddit. It's a lot of work. It's basically fed up with tech doing everything. I just read comments every so often and try to help as much as I can. So yeah, we do need to get more mods in there, and we're working on that. TDS 101 PS is saying, Chuck is on point with reviews. Thanks for that. Oh, well, thanks TDS. I appreciate that. We do our best. Go Everywhere saying, the tires on the scooter look pretty narrow. Does that hurt the ride or stability? Yeah. So then yes. So the deal with tires, right? And you, if you guys have been watching the show a lot, right, you understand how we feel about pneumatic versus solid, right? Pneumatic are more performance. So you get performance, you get safety, you get comfort, right? They do better in rain and all that stuff, right? But with pneumatic tires, you can get flats. And so there's that trade-off. And a lot of people prefer solid tires. This scooter has dual 7.5-inch solid tires. They're not extremely wide, but they're durable. You're not going to need new tires for 1,000+ miles, legitimately 1,000+ miles, because I've never changed my tires. And the tread does wear off after a long time, but they are durable. Now in good weather and good road conditions, they're going to be great, and you can have a lot of fun carving and all that kind of stuff I've ever lived in. And you get these roads that look like a mountain range, basically. Like, tires are fine, unless you're going over manhole covers trying to do hard braking on slick surfaces and things like that, then no tire is going to do well. Also, in the rain, you need to be more careful on a scooter like this than you would with a pneumatic tire scooter, because when you have, right, when you're on a pneumatic tire scooter, the tire form fits to the road. And so like, you know, this solid tire, right, has a tire that doesn't change shape, right? And so whatever, you know, point you get with the road is what you get. And so you just don't have as much traction, I guess, right? You don't have as much area of the tire that's in contact with the road. And so when you're in wet conditions, it is going to hurt. Also, we tested this tire wet and dry with the rear brake, and in wet conditions, you definitely do not stop as fast. The electric brake is about the same, but the foot brake it's the other one, that one over there. The foot brake will be slower in wet conditions. So anyway, yeah. Sean is also asking if it has a rear light. So it does. So it has two lights, as all scooters should, right? Don't buy well, there's a couple scooters out there that still don't have the rear light, and you know, and maybe a couple that don't even have a front light actually. But every scooter, you need to have front and rear if you ever ride at night. So the rear light is on the fender. I'm gonna actually, let's see if I can. That'll probably hit, but it's right here. And actually I can turn it on. I'm going to turn there. And so, well, as this turns around, unless it falls, I haven't had a scooter fall on me for like 3 or 4 weeks. We'll just see how that goes. As it turns around, you'll see the lights. So it's a small light. It's on the rear fender. It does light up brighter when you push on the electric brake. It does not light up brighter when you're using the foot brake. It also has a front light, which is high mounted. So almost every scooter does have front headlights, and some of them are lower mounted towards the ground, and some of them are higher mounted. We always recommend getting a higher mounted front light because it throws light out farther. Also, you know, when cars are coming and they're trying to see you, the light that's up higher is just going to be easier to see. So we actually like the fact this has got I think 10 little LED lights in there. It's not ultra bright, but a car will see you, and you know, it lights up the road a little bit. So you kind of have to go a little slower if you want to really see what's going on. But it absolutely has it, and it's up high, which is really the best place for that. You can also now see the red light down here. So I'll just leave that on as it turns around, because I think that's a cooler view. And you know what? I'll even put up the handlebars for you guys here. Ooh. Oh no, that's not gonna. Well, it's when that handlebar shoots up, this scooter's gonna go flying over. Man, I'm a little nervous. See how that goes. Okay, so yes, it does have the front and the rear light. It's really good. Always also recommend an extra rear light that's higher mounted. Our favorite one is linked in the video description. Outback and Outback. Hey, I know who I believe that's Bob, right? How you doing? Thanks for watching as always. Chuck, now that winter is here, how do you think temperature affects performance? Yes. So so actually temperature is perfecting a performance if you want to have less range on your scooter. But yes, what we're noticing when we test, and actually the way we know this is because we've tested the same variants. So we've done a lot of Titan T8 variants. So we have like Turbo Swift, Horizon. We even have the 08, which we're going to be testing, and they're very similar scooters. And if they have the exact same battery watt hour and the same motor configuration, then they should get the same range, right? But they don't. And in colder weather, we are seeing like a 20% drop off in range. Actually, the Horizon and the Turbo Wheel Swift, I think we got almost 25 miles of range on the Horizon, where we got like scooter just turned off by itself. That's the Ghost scooter. We got 19.6 or so miles of range on the Turbo Wheel Swift, and that can only be due to the change in temperature, because, and actually when we log all the range tests, our metering devices do log temperature also, and I think it went from like 82 degrees to 62, so it was a 20. We're seeing about, I guess it'd be about 10% per 10 degrees Fahrenheit of reduction in range based on temperature. Now that's not scientific, and we have only done, this is just a couple tests that we've seen, but it will affect that. I don't know if that answers probably a little of your question. Performance is more than just range though. It's acceleration and other things. It may slightly affect the acceleration, although we're gonna have to test more scooters in different conditions to really know, because I couldn't say one way or the other. Now, if it's really cold and it's icy and you slide, that's gonna affect braking. Okay, Sean is asking, would you consider this the most reliable and practical scooter? So when you talk about reliability and practicality, it becomes a really personal thing, right? So for somebody that weighs a ton, that's going up massive hills, that needs to go 10 miles each way, this is not a practical or reliable scooter. But for somebody that's going maybe 4 miles each way, right, or 3 or 4 miles each way, doesn't have a ton of hills, and is on public transportation, and rides in good weather typically, this is an amazing scooter, right? If you want, when you have so for me, right, I always have 3 or 4 scooters in the house at any given time, because, well, that's my agreement with my fiance. I always try to have one small scooter, even though next week we're running the Kwewa Q Power, which is like a 80-pound monster extreme scooter that's just ridiculous, right? It won't fit on this thing. That scooter is not one that I'm going to take to the corner store ever if I don't have to, right? Because I live upstairs and I have to lift the darn thing. So for the right person, this is a great scooter, and it's actually a scooter I personally owned and loved and wouldn't stop talking about to all my friends for years. Probably really annoying to them, because I wouldn't ever shut up about electric scooters, and people would come up. This is before the electric scooter craze, so I'd be at restaurants and I'd always ride my scooter everywhere. I just put underneath the seat behind, my table or whatever. And man, people would always come up to me and ask me about it, and I would just talk to them forever about my UScooter Booster Original. So I think that for the right person, it is practical, because if you're on public transportation, if you need something light, or maybe you're not a big person, right? Like if I wasn't such a muscle-bound, bodybuilder, I wouldn't be able to carry the 45-pound scooters that I do carry. I mean, even the Kwewa or whatever, I lift up and down the stairs, I guess. I don't like it. I don't want to lift it up and down the stairs, right? So for somebody that doesn't want to lift a whole bunch of weight and lives upstairs, there's very few scooters that are in the ultra portable class. And if you're looking in that class, right, you have basically, this one, the Glion Dolly, Unagi, maybe you could say M365. I guess you could say the Ninebot ES2, but I don't recommend the ES2 at all. I would say for durability, this one is the most durable of any ultra portable. So for reliability, I would say this is number one for reliability in the ultra portable category. It's going to last you longer, and when things do happen to it, as they will on any scooter, you're going to be able to get parts for it because there's so many of them out there. Also, people are doing mods on the scooter. So like I talked about for braking, right? It's lackluster braking because it has no drum or disc brake. There are people that are adding drum brakes to the scooter. And if you look up the, if you know French, you can check out some of the, just ask to join the Facebook group, and you can see some videos of people that are installing, aftermarket drum brakes on there. But if you leave some room, you can still get there. All right, I've spent a lot of time on this particular question. Next question. As someone new to this, can someone explain to me what what you mean by carving? It seems to mean a few things. Yeah, sorry. So I guess I'm taking carving from, I don't know. Well, maybe it's from skateboarding, but for me, it's from skiing because I like to ski and I like to carve. I like to go like this, right? So it's like, you can go in a straight line on a scooter or skis or skateboard or anything. But sometimes, if you have room, there's no cars around you, whatever, it's fun to like, go back and forth and like see how quickly you can go left and right. Those the bike lanes where it becomes a dotted line, right? It's like you can just swivel in and out. So that's carving. It's fun. Watch the video later. I think I do some carving in there. Anyway, sounds cooler than it is. No, it is cool. Actually, it's fun. All right, go everywhere. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Does it have a horn? That was one of my main requirements when I was looking for a scooter. Horn is crucial. Turn signals are really nice too. Don't delete the question yet. Okay. So it does have a horn, and I'm going to show it to you now. In the video review, we go over the horn. Okay, so it's on. I believe the horn is on the left side here. So you can hold it down like this. Gosh, where is it? Okay, so I don't know if that's loud for you. If you're in front of the scooter, it's really loud. You can also just press it once. Jeez. All right, no more questions about horns. So it does have a horn. It's an electronic horn. Also, I should mention that there's not a ton of room on this scooter for extras, I guess. I guess you could mount something here yourself. But yeah, there's not a ton of room for extras on it. But yeah, and also you should know, everybody should have a scooter with an audible warning system, whether it be electronic or whether it be a dinging actual bell. You got to have that because when you're going by, other people walking, they're the worst, to be honest. All of a sudden they'll just like, turn left on you and you just don't see them coming. And it is absolutely, you're right, go everywhere. It is crucial to have a horn. So this one's horn, I would consider this to be medium strength, medium to low. There are so many scooters with like motorcycle horns in them that are like actually jarring. And sometimes while that sounds like it's useful, it's actually sometimes less useful to have too loud of a horn because then you're scared to use it because you're going to scare the crap out of people. And then they're going to fall over and then you're going to hit them. So, you got to know where you are. And I actually think that like if you're riding a lot in roads, you actually need to have something loud, because you need to be able to alert a car. And if you're riding around other bicycles, scooters, or people, right? People walking around you, then you need something a little bit quieter because you don't want to scare them, right? Because we want people to like scooter riders. We don't want to get scooters banned everywhere, and we need to be nice to everybody. When I'm riding my scooter, I give everybody a nod. That's just, I just want them to know that like I see them and like I just, I want to spread the love, the scooter love. And then finally, you said something about turn signals. It's cool to have turn signals. There's a lot of cool aftermarket stuff for either handlebars, your helmet, and then there are a couple scooters like the eMove Cruiser, Speedway 4, Speedway 5 that have actual turn signals on the scooter itself. They are low mounted and they're not ultra bright, so that it's not the best use of them. But there are a couple scooters that have that. So I'll just to make your job easier, look at the eMove Cruiser. And we do have a review on our site for that scooter. Okay, Ken's Key is saying, so what is better, the S Plus or the V? Well, so the V is better because it's the scooter turned off. The V is better because the scooter is, it just has a little bit longer range, right? 12.6 miles, right? Versus the S Plus at 10.4, but that's the only difference. And the S Plus is going to be a couple $100 cheaper. So, it really depends on your range. Now, we did a poll early last year, on the Reddit, but we got 200 and something responses, which is awesome. The average electric scooter rider, and this is going to be different for everybody, but is between 6 and 7 miles of total distance per day. So, both scooters are going to go over 6 to 7 miles per day. Also, you can very easily get a second charger and just keep it at your work or school or wherever you go. You just plug it in there, and then you really don't have to worry about anything. But if you have a commute that's 10 miles each way, then I would probably stay away. Ken's Key is also asking what's the warranty on the scooter. The warranty is actually one of the longer, it's on the longer side of the industry. There are scooter companies that are 90 days and 6 months and 1 year. I don't know that there's any that come to mind that are more than 1 year. Maybe Creo Motors was doing a promo or something. Anyway, so it's 1 year on the parts and then 6 months or 1,500 miles on the battery, and that's what you get for the warranty. Okay, and just so you know, in 9 minutes we are going to be premiering the full review video, so just stay tuned for that. The link for that is definitely in the description, but also I pinned it as the first comment on the video, so if you just scroll down, you'll see that, and I'll remind you again right before we go. Hey Ant-Man, you're always on here, Ant-Man. Hope you're doing well. Ant-Man says, Chuck, I ordered an Unagi back on December 3rd. They never sent an update till I wrote an email. They responded saying my order will be sent early to mid-January. Check today and order not even filled. Sorry, Ant-Man. So the deal with electric, being pre-orders and back orders and stuff like that is actually kind of common right now in the industry. With these companies being somewhat new and then not having a ton of either capital or space to hold scooters, they're ordering, bulk shipments from China. They get them in, and then you get your order. So, if, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to hear that. And I do know David, their CEO, and so, if you don't get it by, what is today, the 14th? Well, I guess it is mid-January. Hopefully I'll mention to him that there's people that want better updates, right, on where their order is. And we'll make sure to, all I can do is let them know, but I don't run the companies. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. So I covered almost everything. Oh, okay. So TDS is asking, how about an IP67 water resistance rating? I don't know if you're asking in reference to this scooter or to another scooter, but as far as I know, there's only 2 scooters with an IP67 water resistance rating, and that is the Boosted Rev and the eMove Cruiser. So, both of those we've reviewed. The eMove Cruiser we have multiple videos on and a written review. The Boosted Rev we only have the written review, so definitely check back on the website for the Boosted Rev. But also we'll be making a video review on the Boosted Rev because I think it's a really misunderstood scooter. Okay, NCG is saying any updates or feedback on the Boosted Rev. Well, I don't have a lot. I know that our producer has been writing it, and I think he's not bringing it back anymore, because I don't. But basically, so here's the deal. So we are going to enter that into the rotation for scooter video reviews. It's just that it takes a long time to make these reviews, with all the testing, filming, writing scripts, and just trying the research beforehand, right? It's a 3-person 1 week at least process, and so we have to just kind of schedule everything in. But anyway, I personally think the Boosted Rev is a fantastic scooter if you're on not super bumpy ground and you don't have a super long commute. Anyway, I don't want to get too into the Boosted Rev because I could talk about the Rev forever. I also did a full hour on the Boosted Rev. Nothing has changed as far as I know on that scooter. All we know is that it has fantastic build quality, but and you know what? They did reduce the price quite a bit. So, kudos to them for understanding that their price point was off, especially when you don't have the suspension. But I think if they do another scooter, which I hope they do, I hope they kind of get a couple of those things added to the scooter. We got 5 minutes to the end of the show, you guys. So in about 4, I'm going to restate the link and talk to you about next week's show. Let's talk about, we talked about the tires. I've got a bunch of notes here. Yeah, the kickstand, as you can see, there's actually no kickstand on this scooter. So for some people that's a con, but actually you can see there's this kind of like middle position that you can put the scooter in, and with a flat base you actually get a kickstand effect. So even without a kickstand, as you can see, the scooter is bouncing, on its own. Let's see, it also has cruise control, which you can turn on or off in the P settings there. So that's cool if you're like on a longer route, that sort of thing. You can hold the accelerator down at a set position for, I think it's 7 seconds, and then the scooter goes into cruise control mode, and then boom, you can like let off the gas. However, it does have thumb and trigger throttles, and so like it's actually quite ergonomic, and you don't get like the cramps that you do on other scooters that you kind of have that trigger throttle for. So it's it does well on its own. I'll quickly go over the pros and cons. Let me see if there's any other questions. No questions yet. So quickly I'll go over just final pros and cons. Kickstand added. I haven't seen any mods for the kickstand, but I didn't look through every single post on some of the forums. It's not something that we've talked to Scott about. Maybe Scott should still be in the live chat, and he can probably answer that better than I can. So overall pros and cons, I'm going to say it's good range for the weight. There's not really any scooters that are this weight that can go this far. If you get up to 27, 28 pounds M365, then you can go about 14 miles. But this one you're at 12.8, which is really close to that. So range for the weight, everything for the scooter for the weight is actually really good. So yes, it's of course overall pro, ultra portable. If you're looking for the ultra portable scooter, boom, you got it. Maintenance free largely, right? Now, and when I say like you can get things fixed, like it means after 1,000 miles, you shouldn't have any issues up until 1,000 or whatever. And then things, little things will happen or wear out, whatever. The scooter is the V, right? This one is the V. The S Plus Sport is like also the same V as in 5th generation. And so they've got a lot, they've just worked out a lot of kinks. E2 as a company is an adult scooter company because it's been making scooters since 2013, whereas you can look at any of the other scooters. We have 28 scooters here in this room with me. I don't think many other scooters are on their 5th generation yet. And so they've done a lot of very cool little things like this cable routing in here. We look at that and like they've got these like little, tracks for the cables so they don't stick out too far. I mean, they've been through a lot, and so they know what's going to break, and they've improved those things, right? And the suspension, while very like minimal, the suspension is actually located under the deck. There's a giant spring under there. It does a really good job, and you can see that in the video coming up. It also works as a kick scooter because the deck is so low. It actually does work as a kick scooter. So if you did run out of battery, you can kick it and it rolls pretty well, and the deck is low, so well as a lot of scooters. Yeah. Now, so anyway, this is a review on this scooter. The premiere is going to be starting soon, although I think we get like a 2-minute like little warning for the premiere. If you are interested in this scooter, do not forget you're going to kick yourself if you don't get $100 off. So use our coupon code electric-scooter.guide. It's in the video link. Also, if you're still watching this after an hour, you better subscribe to our channel because what are you doing here otherwise, right? You want to see me every week, I assume. And hi, Dad, if you're watching this. And hi, Vienna, if you're watching this. Next week is Q Power Week. It's a big monster scooter. It's like the opposite of this scooter here. It's for people that can put the thing in their garage, and it's got off-road tires. It's going to be crazy. That's going to be next week, and we're going to have the video next week as well. So stay tuned for that. It is now 6 o'clock our time. Y'all, we'll see you over at the live show. So go to the comment, click that link. It's going to take you to the premiere of the live show. And we're going to sign off now. If any of us can get to the get on the internet to click end stream, because I cannot do it.